Hey friends and neighbors, Scott here, and we're going to do a quick profile on a medicinal plant. Boop. Nope, didn't do it. There we go. This is bugleweed. Now there are multiple plants that get called bugleweed as a common name. This one it's also called ajuga, or gypsy weed, I think it might be called. Ajuga reptans. Now reptans means that it's sprawling. It's low growing across the ground and spreading. It spreads sideways instead of growing tall, and this does. It's a mint family member, and as such, it has squared off stems, and it has, well, let's take a closer look. Mints have square stems and opposite leaves that alternate as they go up the stem. If we can focus on the right thing. Two will go off, say, north and south, and then the next set will go off east and west, and then the next set's north and south, like that. Mints also have these if we could just focus on them, wouldn't that be nice? Mints have this distinct bloom where they sort of have these lips. They sort of pucker up and kiss with the blooms. Now, these are not particularly... Hey, camera, come on. You can focus down there now. Yep, they are not very aromatic, which makes them a sort of a poorly behaved mint. Now, all of the aromatic mints are more or less edible. The non-aromatic mints may or may not be edible. But these, when you have the young ones, the young shoots, those are edible. The old ones, I've never tried to eat them older. I haven't found confirmed reports. I would say probably as they get older, they get a bit more on the medicinal side. Medicinal how? Well, they're considered to be a heart tonic, although they have some compounds that are similar to digitalis or foxglove. So they have some good for your heart properties, but since they have some things in common with digitalis, you may want to use a little more caution. They could be considered somewhat narcotic in larger, not strongly, just mildly, like slow you down, help you rest, that kind of a thing. They are good for coughs. They've been used for tuberculosis, or pernicious consumption, I think it's called. So yeah, tuberculosis. So if antibiotic-resistant TB comes around, we can go back to this plant and hope for the best. How would you use it? Well, you would probably make a tea. You would take some of those, and you can dry these. They'll stay good. But chop them up, make an infusion. Because of the digitalis-like compounds, and I'm just erring on the side of extra caution here, by the way, but because of those compounds, I would start on the smaller end and gradually work my way up to make sure that I handled these well. I didn't have any weird reactions, any bad side effects. Oh, now we have a visitor over here. See that little bumblebee? These guys are good plants to have around because they attract pollinators, and that's good for your garden, and that's just good for the world, you know? They are not really vulnerable to rabbits and deer and things like that, and they're very pretty. They're going to bloom in spring. They are semi-evergreen depending on your climate. They like a moist soil. Well, I'm going to say especially where I live, they like a moist soil. The further south you get, the more you're going to find them in the shade, and they're going to like wetter areas. The more north you get, the more they're going to want to be in well, they like moisture, but more than dry stuff, but they don't want to be in a bog. But the further north you get, the more sunlight they're gonna want. They're really a pretty hardy plant. They can be invasive. These guys are native to Europe, Northern Africa, Southwest Asia, that sort of block of the world. And let me jump back over to the medicinal properties. Now, they can stop bleeding, and that was one of the ways that they helped with tuberculosis, was the bleeding and the lung bleeding, which is generally not favorable. We don't really want to encourage that. So they would make an infusion, and you could take it, and it would help to stop the bleeding. You could use them as a poultice externally for bleeding, and they should be pretty good at that. Now, my go-to plant for bleeding is yarrow, but this is a good one. This is a related plant, and gosh, the name escapes me. It's another mint. I think this is another one that gets called bugleweed, but there's another name for it. Well, I'm blanking out, so we'll skip that.